Hi, welcome everyone. I'm Isha from India, a 2022 GKS graduate scholar from the Embassy track, and I'll be doing my master's in Hongik University. My major is fashion design, and without further ado, let's begin. This is the part where you will get to show why you deserve this scholarship and what makes you stand out from others that are applying for this scholarship, because the competition is very, very high. So, like, how strong is your motivation to go to Korea? Because they are obviously looking for minds that genuinely appreciate what Korea has to offer to foreign students. Like, it shouldn't be some vague infatuation to come to Korea and have fun. So they're looking like how serious are you and what you can offer to both your nation and Korea, how you are going to benefit from this scholarship, or you are going to benefit the scholarship after you finish this degree. Okay, now comes the most daunting part. Where to begin? Because writing essays for admission is actually a very Western concept, so I was not very familiar with how to present my ideas. Like, there were so many thoughts and data in my head, and I didn't know how to put them out or organize. What I did was, step one, it is to transfer everything that is coming to your head into a physical notebook or your notepad or iPad, anything you have. Just put it out. Like, it doesn't have to be systematic or in order. Just everything. Like, it doesn't even have to relate to each other. So, suppose like here I'm having thought one, note it down. Then after some time, it's like something very random, thought B, put it down, and just note it down as bullet points or paragraphs, however you feel comfortable letting your ideas out. Next, it's actually for people who don't have much data to write in their essay, or are very confused what to present, what not to present. So even I was like that. So I got down to research, and research a lot. Like, you can start with researching about your major, what is happening in Korea in the field of your major, like the market or labs in case you're from a science background. So, since, for example, as I have written here, my major is fashion. I looked up many articles to find out the recent trends in Korea, or if the companies or brands in Korea are doing anything significant that I would like to pursue in my career. And also, you can look up what the government is doing to support students or the job field in your major. So you can maybe look up like how are the recent graduates or freshers getting benefited, or what kind of advantage they have if they study and work in Korea. So that's how you like get a very good idea regarding your motivation. Actually, like, this will help you word your motivation to come to Korea in a very detailed manner. Like, you can give them proof, oh, this is happening, oh, that is happening, and which is what is like pulling me towards Korea. Like, it should, as I mentioned earlier, that your motivation should not be vague infatuation. Oh, I love K-pop, so, oh, I love the culture, and that's it. Oh, Korea has very nice education structure or system. No, like, please be very detailed, and by detail I mean it has to be your major related, or if not your major related, then something very significant that can show like why it is important to you. Okay, next step. This is what saved me because I was not part of any preparation group or WhatsApp or Facebook group that helped the students to better prepare their applications. It's because at that point I was not aware that such groups even existed. So everything I did was by myself with the help of YouTube videos. So I am very grateful for the creators that put all those detailed content out there. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, because I sat down and watched like probably 200 300 videos to like to find out A to Z about GKS. And as you can see, I have written here that they have given tips and insights into their own essays and how they're like doing in their lives in Korea, or everything, like even application related, how to prepare your documents, how to send your documents. And even I found out that India has an extra step to apply for GKS, that is our own education ministry who does the first round of selection through YouTube. Like, if I hadn't seen that video, I wouldn't have known that, oh, this is what we have to do initially before we even like get to the embassy round. So every little thing, it was because of YouTube. And even apostyle, I had no idea what apostyle is and what is like true copy stamps. What are those things? For one day, it felt like I become a law student, because I was watching so many videos in order to be safe, like in order to be very, very careful and not make a silly mistakes. So I did a lot of research on YouTube through maybe 200 or 300 videos. Believe me, I'm not even joking about this. So yeah, as you can see here, I've written that it doesn't have to be GKS specific. Like, if you're worried about your essay, try looking up essays of like other, you know, prominent scholarships or universities like Oxford, Harvard students, and you will see like, wow, like how they frame their words, and you will be like, okay, I can see why they got selected. How I organized my data, or everything that I noted down. I kept two very important things in mind. First of all, it's the catchy beginning. If you saw other YouTubers, you must have noticed that many of them have mentioned this point, that you should have a catchy beginning, because whoever is reading your essay, they do not have a lot of time and they go through thousands of applications. So grab their attention within the first one or two sentences. Do not bore them from the beginning. Give them something interesting, something meaningful that will make them attentive towards the story, that will pique their interest to know more about you. They should feel like, okay, this student is going somewhere with this starting line. I want to know more about her or him. Give them a reason like that. What I did was I sat down to like note down my favorite quotation, lyric that inspire me. Then I thought about some incidents that could act as a starting point for this essay, because NIIED gives 3 or 4 questions that you need to answer in your essay. Which one of them is about your motivation, and I wanted to begin my essay with the reason why I was motivated to come to Korea. I had actually divided my essay into 4 or 5 major paragraphs, starting with the motivation. Then it was very unidirectional of my own life's timeline, starting with my school, then college, then after college. It will it should give them a very clear idea of where it began, how it began, when it happened, what it happened. By it, I mean the events in your life that pushed you towards Korea, or anything significant that you want to mention. So you cannot scatter your data here like you did in the rough note, because like if you're mentioning one thing and then in the next paragraph you suddenly start talking about another thing, like it will be very difficult for them to connect the dots. You too can try to be unidirectional, or even if it's not unidirectional, try to be as systematic as you can. You should show them how one thing led to another and that thing led to the next thing. It should make sense how everything unfolded for you. Please organize it, like how the motivation began, how your experiences are shaping you, and then why you are choosing Korea. Choose a theme, like choose a timeline. I did with my own education timeline. You can do with your own experience timeline. Maybe your motivation began with something you did in your college, that was your starting point, and you can start with that, then continue how things unfolded after that. It should make sense to them. Please read it through. and try to see it from a perspective of someone who is judging this, and they don't know you, they don't know how things happen for you. So at first glance, how does it seem to them? Can they make sense of it? Can they connect the dots? Can they connect your storyline? Three very important points to keep in mind. This is how the structure of your essay should be like, starting with it being very concise. Your essay should be simple and without repetition of data. What I mean is, I was reviewing some essay, and the students tend to repeat things. Like if they have mentioned one event in one paragraph, in the next paragraph they have maybe elaborated it further, but then it is repetition of the same data. You have a word limit, you have limited pages to share your story with. So try to show as many sides of you as possible, and not just like repeat one thing over and over again. And next, it's being detailed. Do not be vague. This is so important because everyone writes, oh, I'm a great leader, I'm very hardworking, and I am this, I am that. But you should show them proof why you are making that claim. Why do you claim that you have leadership abilities, or you are very determined or hardworking? Why? Give them an example of a project you did, or anything that led you to believe that you are passionate or hardworking. It could be internship, it could be a workshop, or maybe it could even be a seminar you attended where you realize something about your own self. So give them proof for every claim you're making. That's what the detail mean. Do not be vague about these things, and do not be vague about your experiences. It should be brief but detailed. Detailed as in the exact thing that happened for you, when, with whom, these things. And next is this is very obvious, it should be neat. It should be easy for them to read without having like a bunch of spelling or grammar mistake, because your English proficiency is something they will notice. Now the fun part, my own essay. So this is exactly the content that my essay has, starting with the introduction to my motivation, and as I mentioned, I wrote it in the timeline of my education. I began with my schooling. I mentioned how I did a lot of poetry, dance, art, a lot of these competition, and I won. I even submitted the certificates to prove my claims. And there was a fashion and beauty contest in the later years of my high school, which played a significant role in me choosing my major. That is how you can show how important your major is to you, or how passionate you are for your major. Then I mentioned my undergraduate years, like the subjects we studied, what those subjects taught me, all those workshops and big seminars we attended, and any field trip that helped me. Then I mentioned the extracurricular activities, everything in those years. Moving on to activities related to Korea, I have seen some YouTubers or previous scholars mention that you should not include too much of K-pop or K-drama related wordings in your essay. But then for my major, it was very important, because that is how my story began. You will see it soon when I share my essay in a while. That is why I had to mention some parts of K-pop and K-drama. When you share these activities that you have done related to Korea, like any competition or marketing or event participation, this will show them that you have brought highlight to Korea in your own country, and you have been connected to Korea in some way or the other. And the volunteer and social services, this will show another side of you, that you are not just focused in your studies or major, but you are a very conscious human being in a society, living in a society. You think of the society as well, not just about yourself. So these are actually all the things that will show different versions of your life that you live, genuine inspiring events in life that led you towards Korea. Even they have asked this in the question, like, can you share something significant that happened with you? So I did. I actually showed Itaewon class to my father, who is not a K-drama or K-pop fan, but then he loved the business ethics that was shown in that drama, and then he kind of started like researching more about Korea by himself, and he knew how interested I was to come here and how motivated I was. So he did his own research. Then he was like, "Oh, you should go there. This is a nice place to build your career in." And I described that incident of my life very briefly in my essay. Okay, if you have a lot of accolades, prizes, achievements, please do not mention it in a way that will seem like you're bragging with a hint of ego. Rather, present it in a way to show what you learned from these experiences or where it led you. You can word it in a way to show, I got this and I learned this from this experience. You will see in my essay, I even mentioned event where I did not win. I actually lost, and I learned something from that loss of me. And I mentioned it in a way to show, okay, this happened to me and this is where it led me. That is how you can word your achievements, to show them that you are learning, you are growing, and you are grateful. And I actually graduated in August of 2021, and I discovered GKS around that time. Then I made the firm decision to wait until February to enter the scholarship. That is why I had to explain that there was a gap of months in my timeline. So after college, what I did to fill that gap, my months, my time, what I did, and how I upgraded myself, my skills, my research. That is the paragraph where I like briefly explain how I discovered GKS, why GKS, and those months leading me until application of GKS. So if you're in a similar situation like me, where you took a year gap, or after graduation you're doing some kind of work or internship, or you're doing nothing, just you have to show them that these months were not in vain, or at least there was something productive, or what you did to prepare for the scholarship. You can mention these things in one of the paragraph. The time has arrived. My essay. My essay has a lot of personal information because I poured my honest story into it. I was very honest and detailed about the incidences that led me to apply for the scholarship. That is why I am sorry that I cannot show the entire essay to YouTube or anywhere. So just bits and pieces to explain the points better that I made earlier. Here are screenshots of some parts of my essay. I hope you understand. Starting with my beginning paragraph. This is actually my entire beginning paragraph, which gives the direction, sets the direction for the motivation of my application. As I mentioned, you have to grab their attention from the first sentence or the first one or two sentences of your essay. Maybe reading through my first one or two sentences made them curious about my story. As I mentioned earlier, they don't know me, they don't know you. You have to rise the intrigue level in them to get to know you. After the first paragraph, I moved on to start the timeline of my life from my school, then the bachelor's, the subjects I undertook, the workshop I did, and there was a field trip and some annual day activities, many things. And that's a very long paragraph, and this is towards the end of that paragraph where I explain the extracurricular, like not even related to my study, like the extracurricular activities. This is the incident, the KCCI dance event, the loss that I mentioned. It's I was actually very confused, sorry, not confused, very doubtful whether I should mention it or not, since it's not a win. And mostly people highlight their achievements, their prizes. But then I looked back and thought I should mention this because this is an event where I got more exposed towards the consumption of Korean content in my own region, and it was quite surprising, a happy surprise. And so, why not? Even if your major has nothing to do with it, but then it gave you some kind of exposure towards towards Korea, like maybe you attended a seminar or you saw a TED talk, or like your professor mentioned Korea somehow, or it came out in a graph, or any article that you read, anything significant that connected you to Korea, you could mention that. And then there were a lot of donation and social service activity. In this second image, I continued my experience paragraph a little further. Then I started my after graduation paragraph with my CGPA and rank explanation. And then I wrote about what I did until the GKS application started. And here is the ending statement of my essay.